Hey, this is just to give you a little bit of insight on drills that we're going to do with the defensive backs. We're going to keep it pretty short. We only have a 10-minute Indy today. So first thing we're going to start with is the back pedal. Biggest coaching point is, and you want to repeat this throughout the drill, shoulders over knees, knees over toes. Okay, so he's got probably the best alignment of all four of these guys. He's got his shoulders over his knees, knees for the most part are over his toes. Honestly, if you want to spend 10 minutes on the back pedal, you can't do this enough. But at the same time, the other coaching point is you want to keep them on the line. Also, eyes are up so they can see what's in front of them. If you notice that these guys, and granted is at the college level, they're using their arms, but they're not real violent with them. Okay, so they don't have time to reach back as you would if you're doing a full-out sprint. But at the same time, you want to make sure that those elbows are close to the body and be trying to be efficient with all their movements. Again, shoulders over knees, knees over toes. How this coach, and I thought this was kind of smart, is not starting the drill with a whistle. He does it with a movement. So he can clap. Very often I'll grab a football and slap a football, but he's just slapping his hands together. And that's to train his defensive backs to react on movement and not sound. Because the play is only ended by a whistle. It's not started by a whistle. Okay, it's kind of the philosophy behind that. Moving forward, again, that's the back pedal. That'd be the first thing you do. I typically go from sideline to hash on this. Okay, so roughly 20 yards or so, and continue on there. Get them in lines of 3 or 4. I usually like to get them in lines of 3. That way, it offers. I don't have to be watching 4 groups. I can make those corrections and then move ahead. Okay, again, shoulders over knees, knees over toes. Moving ahead here, I think he calls this reaction or transition. Okay, I call this also 180-degree turns or full open up turns. So again, he starts it up, and they're on the back pedal.
Can you change your hips?
And I kind of let him talk here.
Back pedal to running vertical. All right, I put them on the line. I want to make sure you stay on the line, and then we got to burst and act as if that receiver is running a fade. All right, but nothing changes. Still from our stance, shoulders over knees, knees over toes, pedal, and then our transition and run. As you see, some of the guys, as they're running and they're turning and running, they're looking down like if they're looking at somebody next to them. We're always acting as if they're looking at the receiver's hip so we can see the rise and the dip of the hip.
He doesn't use the word T-plant, but that's a term that we use a lot with our defensive backs. As they make that turn, what they want to do is T-plant with their foot.
But the focus is on the transition to stay on that line.
Right when he makes that transition, he's T-planting. They've all got their heads down because what they're looking to do is they're trying to react to the inside hip of the receiver.
Right.
Okay.
That smooth pedal and get a vertical transition to see how fast.
Moving on to the next one here.
Transitioning, but I would want him to see that hip.
Okay, next one is a weave. This one is pretty simplistic. This is really more for our safety than anything else. But as you can see, coach is, he's reacting to the direction of the coach. Go to the left, go to the right, getting back to center, getting back to that center line. Sometimes what I'll do is just to get the kids a little bit more engaged is I'll have a football here. And I'll throw the football up and, again, lines of 3 and then, tell kids to go up after, try to high point the football. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. Okay, so this one's called weave. Got another one coming up, and that'll probably be it. It'll take you 10 minutes to get through this stuff, and don't be afraid to go through a drill more than a few times, okay? These are the same drills I use with my varsity guys, and sometimes they don't show up on Friday nights, so we got to just hammer them. Again, shoulders over knees, knees over toes, reacting to the coach there. Next one are breaks. I may end up actually doing this one a little bit differently. Okay, so again, is reacting to the movement of the coach, and then the coach gives them a direction. Coming on their backward pedal. T-plant, and then they're coming forward again. So they react, he gives them another direction to come forward, and then they come. They work in that T-plant. This guy right here, perfect. This is, I'm trying to get my varsity guys to do this. T-plants, He's got his eyes up, shoulders over knees, knees over toes, and he makes a break on the ball. Okay? Hopefully this works out. Hopefully you have a little bit of time to look this over. And that is INDY progression for defensive backs. I'll get you a few more other things to do with these guys as the season goes on.